welcome to Chad's Silversmithing. Today I'm going to do something that I have not tried before at the suggestion of my wife. I'm going to make button covers, and I didn't even honestly know they existed until she told me about them. So I'm kind of reverse engineering one that I've seen online, and we'll see how it turns out. I don't think it's going to be too hard, but it should be a fun project. So let's give it a try. This is one of my design idea sketchbooks that are available in my shop. This particular one has some useful information about flow temperatures of various solders. Some of the other ones have conversion charts or ring sizing guides, things like that. So there's some useful information on most of them. What I like about them is that it allows me to keep a record of what I've made, and I've filled up about 4 or 5 of these now since I started the channel. And it allows me to be able to go back and visit my previous projects. So if I need to make one similar, I have a record of it, and I can do it without having to reinvent the wheel again. So, all right. So this is what we had, what I had in mind. I got out an old sewing kit, and it had some buttons in it, and this is actually a little drawstring bag made out of felt or velvet or something. And I sewed a little button on it. This is about a 15mm button, so it's a 2-holer, and I imagine this would work for a 4-holer too, as long as you had a big enough hole in the middle of it. But what we want to do basically is make something that fits around it out of 26 gauge sheet, which is 0.41mm, so pretty thin sheet. I rolled out some 22 gauge sheet, which is this here, from some scrap that I made an ingot from, and so that should be good for the top and the bottom. I did cut a piece for the top here just by itself, and I scribed out how I'm going to cut out the shape for this on the bottom. I'm basically recreating a store-bought one that I saw online as far as the mechanism, but it's not exactly the same. I'm kind of making it based off of a couple of different kinds. So, but what I'm going to do with this one, I think I'm going to put a texture on it with my rolling mill, just to have a nice top that's different from just plain silver. It just struck me, you could also dome this a little bit after you get it textured, or you could leave it plain and then dome it. But I'm going to mount a little Tourmaline. I pre-made the bezel because I wanted to focus on making the mechanism here. And you can watch just about any of my videos and see me make a bezel. I got a little kind of greenish yellow 5mm Tourmaline cab, and I'm going to put that right in the middle of the button cover here. So I pre-made the bezel, like I said, it's ready to go. And I'll probably file that a lot shorter before we set the stone, but that'll be towards the end. Doing the stone setting. Up until then, we need to work on creating this little device. Okay, here's the piece I made that went around the button out of 26 gauge, and I left just a little bit of play in there because I wanted some room to work with. So the way it's going to work is this piece here that we're going to cut out of this. Hopefully you can see the line that I made there. It's going to have several components. It's going to have a tab coming off of it like this, and on this thing, after we put the top on it, we're going to have to cut a notch on the side of it, right about there, because we need a little bit of metal going across there for this little tab to hinge over. So when we put it all together, this tab is going to be curled into a little tube kind of to hook over that little top of the sheet there. If it seems too thin, I may solder a little piece of wire across it, but we'll see. These tabs here are going to bend downwards, and that's going to be how it stays in place, so we can adjust it to fit tightly when it hinges closed. The slot here is how you're going to slide the button on. So once we cut this out, we're going to make sure that the width of that slot is wide enough to slide that little part, you know, the little where the thread is connecting the button to the fabric, so that'll fit through there. And then we should be able to just close it and adjust those tabs so that they're the right tension so it stays closed. All in theory, so let's see if we can do this. So I think let's go over and let's put a pattern on this with the rolling mill and see how that looks. We got a little bit of a pattern on it now. That should make it nice. So let's solder this onto this. I think that'll get us going in the right direction. If you're new to my channel, here's a little information about my torch setup and the solder and flux that I use and everything, if you're interested. Okay, so this is going to behave pretty much like we're soldering a bezel onto a base plate. Although this is not fine silver for the bezel, this is sterling that I use to make the little strip out of 26 gauge sheet. So let's cut a little bit more solder. I've been so busy lately, I haven't had time to clean up my work area here. So I apologize for any piles of tools you see on the outskirts of the video frame here. Like that one. Okay. It's quite a bit more mass in the bottom piece than on the other piece because it's thicker. So most of my heat's going to be focused right on that base plate, kind of where the two come together, just like I would if I was doing a bezel. It's just going to take a little longer to get the piece underneath up to the flow temperature of the solder, more so than this skinny piece of sheet up on top, which is exposed to the flame more directly. You'll know it's gone when you start to see that shiny seam forming around the outside edge on the very bottom. You want to take it around a couple of times to make sure it pulls it all the way around. Tends to follow the heat. We're going to trim this off here and then file it flush. I'm going to use my little dividers to describe a straight line pretty close to the edge, if I can do that. It's easier to see when you do it through marker like that. I think we may have to dip it down a little bit too. So let's do that. From the edge, I mean. The reason I say that is I think we're going to need to, in order for the, since it's going to be a tab coming off of that other piece of sheet curled around, if I want this to be set flush inside of here, I think it needs to be dipped down just a little bit from the edge, if that makes any sense. So let's do that. The trick on this one is going to be not to cut through the other side by accident. I think I may have to do the wire thing because I think I cut it too deep. So let me straighten that out with a file, and then we'll take a look at it. I went ahead and I cut that all the way out to the edge because I wasn't pleased with how close I was. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece of 20 gauge wire. There's just a little snip that I had sitting over here. I'm going to pick up a little bit of solder here. I'm going to solder it right like that. And then hopefully we can cut it to the right length and just fit it in there and solder it to the other side. Then we'll have a nice pivot point for that. So that wasn't my original plan, but I think we can make that work. Sometimes you got to make a new plan when things aren't going exactly right. You also got to be forgiving of yourself if something goes awry as well, because it happens to everybody. That's part of the learning process, you know. Usually that's the best time to learn something new, is when something goes wrong. That's kind of how I want it to be. So let's cool that off, and then we can snip that off and solder on the other side. This is called pick soldering. If you've never tried this, this is a really useful skill. So here's a video about how to do it. It opens up a lot of things you might not have been able to do prior to learning how to do this. So you pick up a little bit like this. I'm hoping that that's jammed in there enough for when that other solder joint reflows. I think we did okay. Alright, should we put that bezel on there? Let's find the center of this thing and mark in here. I'm going to use that as a gauge of where to center this thing. That's going to have to be centered as much as it's going to be. It's not probably perfect, but it's not bad. So I'm going to file this bezel much shorter. And when I'm done getting this filed short, we'll take this piece over there and cut this out and see if we can make that work. Okay, let's see how my sewing skills are tonight. Alright, so I got that, but I need to do the slot in the middle and probably inset these just a little bit right here. Well, that's going to require a little neatening up with the file. But overall, that's pretty much what I was trying to do. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm at the point where I've bent these down a little bit, cleaned this thing up with a file, and I think if I pop this in here, those kind of catch like that. And we can fine tune them after we're done, but we need to make this little loop that's going to go over here. So we need to see how much of that we're going to need. It's going to actually stick out a little more. About like that. Let's see how that works. So I think I'm going to cut a little bit of this off. There we go. That's pretty good, actually. Let's see if that fits on our button. Yes? I'm a little concerned about maybe these things need to be curved a little bit so it can actually get down in there. So I made it just a little bit small. I think what I might do is thin this out with the Dremel, so I'll be right back. Okay, I thinned out the little tab a little bit and it fits a little better. I don't know if that perfectly solved the problem, but I just made my tolerances just a little bit too close. So when I close it, it's a little tight. But it does cover up the button, it does latch closed, and I think once it's cleaned up and we put that stone in there, it'll be real pretty. So let me get that pickled. One thing I would suggest is maybe figure out a way to have something you can get your fingernail under to open it back up. Right now I don't have anything like that, so maybe in the comments tell me what you'd do if you were going to do it. I'm always curious about other people's ideas, so I'll get that pickled and we'll get it finished. Got everything in place, got everything polished up a little bit. I do this differently than some. I use my chain nose pliers as a tool to set my stones. And I pushed this in earlier and it's pretty snug. So I'm just going to go ahead and burnish this down. And then if I need to, I'll do a little cleanup on top of that bezel with my rotary tool. But I think overall that's pretty good. One thing like I said earlier, I think I could have done a little better is leave myself just a little more space. These things are very thin now, so this is probably not going to end up being a real one. But it was a good prototype one, so got it like that, slide it on there, close it up, you got your fancy button. So, kind of what I had in mind there. So I'll get some better pictures and put them at the end. Alright, well that was making a simple button cover. I hope you enjoyed that one and found it entertaining and useful. I would absolutely appreciate it if you'd hit the like button before you go, and I'd love it even more if you left a comment. All of that stuff drives the algorithm and it gets my channel noticed more, and I do appreciate your support in that way. I'd also love to see you go visit my main channel page on YouTube. I have 630 plus videos now. I do 3 per week, so there's a constant stream of new information coming out. If you like what you see over there and you want to see more of it over time, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Before we go, I wanted to thank a couple of groups of people. My patrons over on Patreon are my core group of supporters. Not only do they provide me with financial help, they've also created a really nice environment over there, and I wanted to welcome a new person to that environment. It's Susan. Thank you for signing up. I really appreciate your support, and I think you'll find that that's a great group of people over there to get to know. The other group are my YouTube subscribers, and we just passed 28,400, I believe, which is amazing. Thank you for that. I really love the comments that I get on YouTube. I've met the nicest people through this platform, and I really love the personal stories that you leave in the comments and the suggestions for videos. How you do things is always useful to me because I like to learn new things as well. So thanks for that. Thanks for the purchases on my merch store and the buy me a coffees, the super thanks, buying my ebooks. All of that stuff makes my channel sustainable, and I really appreciate that. So thanks for that. In the video down below, there are some important links. There's a link to my Patreon if you want to find out more about that. There's a link to my shop if you want to get yourself like one of those nice design idea sketchbooks or some other useful merchandise. Or get one of my ebooks. I have 3 of them now, and the link in the video description is to the 2025s, which is the latest one. And it has a page for each of the videos I did last year. It includes a link to the video, but it also includes additional information like a picture of the sketch I drew, a picture of the final outcome, a list of materials that it took to make the project, stone information if it had a stone in it, a difficulty rating, and notes I took about the project, some things I thought about afterwards, or if I decided I might have done it a different way, or what did I learn from it, those kind of things. So It's a great way to have a ton of projects right at your fingertips, and a really nice way to support my channel. So get yourself one of those, or maybe get all 3 of them. There's a package deal if you do. All right, well, thanks for watching today. Take care. Happy silversmithing.